610 WTVN.
Let's go over to the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line and say good morning to Jeremy Rosenthal. Jeremy, TexasDefenseFirm.com, a guy in Dallas. Jeremy, I don't know, could you drive a bus this time of year? Do you have the mental makeup to be a bus driver?
Oh my gosh, no. Look, and you better believe that there's a bunch of kids running around that are very disappointed. They were rooting for labor strife, and they were. Yes, it's like I've always grown up. I heard about teachers' strikes and all those things, and I always wondered why I was never so lucky to get that happening. I was like, gosh, how do we get that in where I live? But
Yeah, that's it's kind of goes with the territory this time of year. But there's a couple of stories I wanted to get with you. One of this one is being underreported, in my opinion, and it has to do with a criminal investigation on Senator Adam Schiff for alleged mortgage fraud violation. So here's the quick setup on this. I'll let you take it. The DOJ is alleging that Adam Schiff, in multiple instances, by the way, has falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms. All right, so break this down. How does this all work?
So Adam Schiff, I guess he gets elected to go to Washington, D.C. early 2000s. When he's there, he does what a lot of people do. They buy property in Virginia, Maryland. His property was in Maryland for his loan. He puts that as his primary residence. And he's also a member of Congress, which means that when you have to live in your district, right? Or otherwise you can't represent them. So he's got multiple primary residences. There's two real big legal factors here. One is, are there affidavits which say opposite things? You don't have to prove, if you're the government, that one is false and one is not. You don't have to prove, no, he was actually living in California. No, he was actually living in Maryland. You don't have to prove that. You just have to prove that based on the documents, both cannot be true. And that's real problematic for a couple reasons. Well, first off, it's mortgage fraud. But for the government here, one of the biggest issues that they have is the age of it, because the statute of limitations is 10 years. The most recent affidavit that they have from Maryland is like 2012 or 2013. So they don't, and I don't know if they have any similar California documents which they can sort of look. But they're saying that the DOJ is saying, look, where there's smoke, there's enough to look into here. And of course, Adam Schiff is pushing back and saying this is just because I led the impeachment. So that's kind of the fight here that's going on.
So he's saying it's political, but I mean, how many primary residences can one have? Because to me, the definition of primary means one and only.
Let's go with one. Yeah, let's go. No, it's very clear. You can have one and one only. Being the lawyer, we can cut any word up into a million pieces. Well, does it mean only? Does primary just means, it just means first, and it doesn't mean. But listen, when you're talking about it, you get specific benefits from saying I'm going to live in a certain place, and that's why you get a favorable loan term. So in essence, what they're saying is, look, you double dipped in California because you got the benefits from your house there, and you double dipped in Maryland because you got the house there. And legally, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so again, just to boil this down, you get a better mortgage rate essentially for a primary residence versus this is a lake house or a secondary home. We're not there all the time. Well, the mortgage rate's going to be a little higher for that purchase.
That's right. Or if it's an investment, or if I'm going to be renting it out, or something like that. So right, you get, and the government wants to facilitate. They want to. You would think that the banks have studied this and they can show, look, you're more likely to pay the thing off if you live there. So, and you're more likely to dump it if you don't live there. So that's sort of the genesis of these allegations.
Interesting. We'll see where that one goes. Speaking with Jeremy Rosenthal in Dallas, TexasDefenseFirm.com is where you can find him. The other story I wanted to get to you briefly in is the reclassification of marijuana. President Trump, he wants to make a decision on that in the next couple of weeks. So where is it now, and what does Trump want to do with the way marijuana is classified in this country?
It's on his desk. It's a really hard, difficult process to reclassify these types of drugs. A lot of studies go into it. A lot of government bureaucracy goes into it. I think the process started in 2022. President Biden at the time directed the FDA to make a study. The FDA did a study and recommended to the DEA, who has to clear it, that it be declassified. The DEA has cleared it, and now it's been on Donald Trump's desk since I think March of this year. And I don't know that the president would come out and talk about it unless he was going to do it. I think he's either teasing it to see where the people are on this, to see what the politics of it are. But I doubt, if you were going to kill it, I just wouldn't talk about it. But this would be a titanic shift. This would revolutionize the cannabis industry.
So he wants to basically reclassify it as a less dangerous drug than it is now.
That's accurate. A Schedule I narcotic is the worst of the worst of the worst. Think of it like this. At the moment, marijuana is classified as more dangerous than heroin, more dangerous than an opiate. And some of the criteria, and look, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying legalize it all. I'm not the Johnny Appleweed of our generation. I'm not saying, I'm not saying, hey, let's do this. Let's go have fun. Thank you. I've been working on that.
That's brilliant.
I'm not saying let's do this, but I don't think that I just don't know that there's any evidence that this is worse than an opiate or worse than heroin. And there are, in looking at this story, there are approximately 0 overdoses on marijuana. It just doesn't happen. So I mean, I'm sorry if somebody listening is out there is saying, well, I mean, look, you can smoke the whatever out of it, and one of the criteria is that it has to be inherently dangerous. Another criteria is that it can have no redeeming medical value. That's what makes it a Schedule I. But the FDA has already approved cannabis-related treatments for epilepsy, for anxiety. States have already legalized medicinal uses for these things. So I think whether or not, and being a Schedule III drug means you're still an illegal drug, and it's still sort of controlled, but it would open up the floodgates for research, banking, interstate commerce. It would really open up a lot of things.
It would reduce penalties too, without having to take the full step of making it totally legal on a federal level as well. I just don't know I don't know. I not to sound like a namby-pamby. I'm not for this. It's legal here recreationally in the state of Ohio, and I think that it's a state's issue. Let the states deal with it, and the feds can stay out of it. Just my thoughts there. Before I let you fly, Jeremy, we're 17 days away from Ohio State, Texas. Yeah. I know you're a Texas Tech guy, so welcome to rooting for Buckeyes, and welcome to Buckeye Nation.
Thank you very much. And I noticed that the Buckeyes, can I say we? I noticed that we were in the AP poll for the 1,000th time.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, they've been a top 5 preseason pick like 9 years straight, which is pretty remarkable. So, and I saw your Red Raiders are in the top 25 too. You're towards the bottom, but you're still in the top 25.
Oh. Right. We're going to, like I said, we're going to go 8-4. We're going to lose to somebody dumb, and we're going to make up for it by losing barely to somebody good. So that's how we're going.
That's how it goes. Hey, good to talk to you, my friend. Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. We'll check in again soon.
All right. Bye-bye.